evening, everyone. It's the European Ham Radio Show, the show where we talk about radios, our favorite radios, and that's exactly what we're going to do today.
Today too.
Good evening.
Yeah, today too. And there might be some cheap radios, more expensive radios. We'll just have to see what happens. First of all, it's the ham radio moment of the week. And Jürgen, would you like to start?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I got a new toy and made a video about it. I did an unboxing in German. It's the iRadio UV98.
I've seen those pop up all over YouTube. Is it any
Yeah,
good?
yeah. Not sure yet. I have to test it to be honest. I just unboxed it. Here we go again.
It's an iRadio? So it's made by Apple?
Pardon?
It's an iRadio? It's made by Apple?
No. Yeah, I wonder what Apple would say to the name iRadio. But there is another iRadio. I have one in my shelf. It's a Noxon iRadio. This is one of these old internet radios, streaming radios. It also was called iRadio.
But then
No,
again,
it's very neat.
HP had their iPAQ series of PDAs in the 2000s, so I don't think Apple has a copyright on the letter I.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I know for a fact that Intel tried to trademark the lowercase I for their thing. They got refused, luckily, but they tried to do that.
As you can see, there are still the pre-programmed or factory programmed frequencies inside. I haven't changed anything yet. I just did this unboxing, and I will play around with this radio during the week and make another video. Of course, in German, because there are so many English videos out there. So I will do it in German. But it feels very solid, let's say. Seems to be a good radio. Yeah, no, it's not an OLED screen. No, it's just the usual stuff. I'm not sure how bright this will be in real life and how good I can read it in real sunlight or in bright sunlight in real life when I'm outdoors. We will see. I will make a video about it.
I can tell you that's not going to be an issue for us Norwegians, at least, if you can read it in sunlight or not.
Come on, Morten. At least twice a year, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but only half days.
yeah, true.
Yeah,
True.
summer is the best weekend in Norway.
It is, but yeah, I see the radio has got 3 VFOs on the display. Does it have multiple receivers, or is that just scanning these 3?
No. It's just scanning these 3. They call it areas. They call it areas, not VFOs. Oops, sorry for the glare. Each of these VFOs, they call it an area, which you can switch around. You can set one area to be in channel mode, another area to be in VFO mode, and there is also something called zoom mode. So like on a DMR radio, you can program zooms. Yeah, I will do a video about it.
But I can see that you forgot one thing when you unboxed it. You still have the plastic protector on the screen.
Yeah. Maybe I should do this now live.
You should
here
do
on
this
the show.
live.
Where's my camera? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you're happy.
Do you
now.
feel better now?
Yeah, fantastic.
We all feel better now.
Yeah, I did some pota hunting. Nothing special. Because we got a new family member, maybe I can show it to you now. Let me share. Yeah, allow, and this one, and this one.
Let's see.
So, yeah.
Ooh, that looks fluffy.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And she's very, very cute. And her name is Lara. Lady Croft.
So I mean, first the peeling of the plastic and then a picture of a fluffy rabbit. I mean, could this show get any better?
Very nice.
Okay. Who's next?
I think Tobias is next.
Yeah, there was not a lot of ham radio this weekend. I had some plumbing exercises to do under my sink, so I've just finished. That's why I'm also scrubby and not fresh as a rose as usually on Sunday evening. So the only ham radio related stuff I did was I tested various versions of the QMX software, because Hans has been cranking out new beta versions like every other day, and there were some minor issues with the USB device descriptors to sort out. And I think at the moment, at least the last time I looked, we were at beta 10007, I think. And the new feature is that the USB composite device of the QMX now shows 3 different COM ports plus the audio interface. So that means you could have one COM port connected to, I don't know, your FT8 thing, and another COM port to do cut control, and another COM port to use the diagnosis menu. So I think I haven't tried it yet, but that's a pretty cool feature if it all works.
Oh, that is pretty awesome, because that's a flex feature on a really cheap radio, that you can set up multiple COM ports for different tasks and have different programs
it is
connected
just,
at the same time.
Incredibly fiddly to get it right, because one byte wrong somewhere in the device descriptor and Windows says an error has occurred, unknown device. So yeah, I think Hans did not have a good time, but he sorted it in the end. I have to give it a thorough test, but I think at least all the ports show up now, so it's a very good sign.
I have to say, if you're vaguely interested in computer technology and programming and whatnot, then look up USB device descriptors and service descriptors and all the descriptors in there. It's an insane mess.
Yeah,
I've
actually, I wrote my thesis when I was at university/Fachhochschule about USB 1.1 at the time and interfacing some device. So it was already ridiculously complicated at 1.1. I could only imagine how it is now with 3.2 Gen, whatever.
Well, I think that the idea of descriptors they're still the same as the original version, but it's a god awful mess trying to figure this out. It's not nice. Luckily, there's tools that can create them for you, but most of these tools, they're made to make either descriptors or combinations of descriptors that the person that made the tool could envision as useful. So of course, if you want to do something that they couldn't envision, why would anyone want to do that? And the tool's not going to help you. It's been my experience, at least. But yeah, if you want to, if you sleep too well at night, try and study USB device descriptors. That's it's a surefire way of
then you
losing.
can sleep at night.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to lose all faith in humanity reading that specification.
Yeah, but I think Bluetooth is even worse. I think
I think it's pretty much the same, isn't it? It's I haven't looked really into Bluetooth, but I'm planning to at one point. Yeah.
Anyway, that was my ham radio moment. So we went from a single COM port QMX to now a 3 COM port QMX in various testing cycles over the week.
Excellent. But that radio is looking more and more promising for us that don't do beeps and dashes for every day that goes along.
Yeah, I think the calibration is also getting more robust. I had some very odd curves with the very first beta version, and now it looks much more reasonable what it shows. So yeah, great that Hans has such a passion for his products and keeps fiddling and ironing out and adding new features. It's really great.
Once again, that's
excellent.
It's just an amazingly German thing to have happen. You built the radio and the calibration wasn't just right, and you didn't change the radio. Someone changed the software, and now the calibration is right. And that's I think that's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
I'm not sure. Maybe just hit the defects of my radio. That's also okay.
I don't know. That's just if you get bored, let me know. I'll send you a kit for one of my QDXs, and you can build it for me.
Maybe I build you a QMX Plus for winter or something. Some December project.
I have the kits. If you have the time, I'll ship the kit down to you, and you can.
Surprisingly enough, you have the kits, Bob. But
let's
Bob,
not get into that. Yes.
What's your ham radio moment of the week?
I have I really don't need to be in full screen. I have absolutely nothing to show for it. But
I'm just testing out some new kind of production skills here.
All right. Yep. Very little in the way of actual ham radio this week. I after my the video where I created the reference dipole for 70 sims, I got some comments as to a better way of de-braiding coax. And I figured, yeah, let's try this out and see if it works. So I built another one. So now I have 2 reference dipoles. And they were right. I can't remember their names. One of them is in the Abe. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Abe, if you're watching. Thank you so much for that hint. That made it so much easier. So debrading coax from now on is going to be always just a pleasure compared to the way I've been doing it. So it's a very nice tool to have under your belt.
And if you haven't watched that video, and I know a lot of you guys haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch it because it's pure genius and it's exactly the right length.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still not over the fact that I spent 40 minutes in a video creating a simple dipole. No, that was it was a tad long, but it was I think it was instructive at least. So
it was.
Yeah.
You are one of the creators I actually watch longer content on. Not every creator masters that format, but you do.
Yeah, there's
like NML via video, right? No, just kidding.
I haven't watched that yet, Tobias.
Exactly.
I watched that end to end, and I think that was very good. I hope that's doing well, and I think that video is going to just continue doing well. So in 10 years, that's going to have an awful lot of views, because this is something people need to look up and people need to reference. So I think that's a very good video, and that was my hope for the braiding coax video as well. I think it's the worst video I've ever released in terms of views. But the thing is, this is information that should be out there. Someone should show people how to do this so they don't have to fall into the trap that I did and doing it in a really annoying way. So that was my reason for actually publishing that video. So
and some of the video. Sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I was done.
Yeah, I was going to say some of the videos we do are videos that take off, and after 2 days they're pretty much dead. While other videos, such as your debraiding video, are videos that not necessarily take off straight away, but if you look at them in a year or two, it's still gonna be one of the most viewed videos.
Yeah, that's the hope, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case for the enameled wire video as well. That's it's a good thing.
Yeah,
to
it
have
could have
out
been a
there
bit
for,
shorter, but I was trying it out live while I was doing it. Yeah, so I did not spend a lot of time editing it.
And you need to get your editing time down, Tobias, because you spend way too much time editing videos, I think.
Yep, that's right. Because I can't remember keyboard shortcuts. That's one of my functional defects. I can't remember shortcuts.
In a video like that, then if you cut it down too much, then you, as a viewer, you're always going to end up wondering what didn't I see.
Anyway, I added chapters this time, so there's chapters so people can jump forward if they're not interested in a section. So that should work.
Yep,
excellent.
That was. Yeah, very short ham radio week. I'm hoping for a much more interesting one next week. I've taken next week off. I'm now in the car on the way to another part of Norway with less snow in the mountains. So with any sort of luck, I will finish my mountain goat this week. I have 12 points to go, so that should be easy enough. So probably more interesting stories next week. But Morten, how about your ham radio week?
Just one moment. I need to finish typing something here. I'll just see if I can do this the right way. I have a lot of ham radio moments this week, but if you look at my name tag, that's probably the greatest moment. I was sitting at the General Assembly of the Norwegian Radio Relay League today, and I actually got elected into the board.
Okay, congratulations.
And that's all thanks to that guy over there in the middle, Bob, who was on the election committee and kindly suggested my name for a board member. I mean, I've known about this election in the General Assembly for 6 months, but I still didn't expect to get elected when I saw all the other people running for the 2 spots on the board, but somehow I ended up in second place. So yeah, I'm kind of lost for words right now, but at least people believe in me at the moment.
So what did you get yourself into? What does a NRL board member do?
Have opinions, I think.
Well, no problem there.
I actually have I have no idea, except it's probably going to be more work.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I have a suggestion for something you can bring up on the first meeting. Because I think in Norway, the league did an excellent job in opening up the possibility of doing LoRa on 70 SEMS. If you could get someone to start working on allowing us to do balloon beacons with ham radio call signs in Norway, that would be bloody cool. Because we're not allowed to do that in Norway. And unmanned aerial vehicles, we're not allowed to transmit from at all as Norwegian hams.
Yeah, I cannot promise that I'll do that on my first weekend, first meeting. I'll need to know, first of all, what I'm heading into, and then we'll see about all the strategical work. And I don't think
problem. Second meeting is fine by me. It doesn't.
I still don't think that the European Ham Radio Show is probably not proper channels to route these requests.
Well, now it's out there.
Yeah. But besides that, Kjetil added some new POTUS. So I did an ATNO yesterday and an ATNO today. Actually, the ATNO I did today was in a spot I've activated many times, but he just added another park, so it's now a 3-fer, and probably one of very few 3-fers in Norway. So that was a lot of fun. I think I saved some people's activations today due to the relatively unstable band conditions.
Yeah.
One guy sounded.
I saw you spotted on Hemmelhurt, but I had no time. Sorry.
Yeah, 20 was a mess, to put it mildly, and 15 was non-existent today. So it was not a good day to do that. And then I released a YouTube video on Friday, which I think a lot of you guys have seen. And we'll get back to that when we talk about our favorite radios. I think that's the best way of doing that. I guess that's my ham radio moment of the week. Now I'm going to go change my name back and not be here as in a formal presence, but as a host of the European Ham Radio Show. Favorite radios, Bob. While I type, you want to take the helm here and start talking?
I can do that. I've been thinking about this. I didn't bring so many things to show, but I've been thinking about this, and I think when you talk about favorite radios, there's different axes that you can have favorites along. Because I think most of us here think that the G90 is some sort of favorite radio for something, but I don't think any of us actually brings the G90 around or does use it very much. So for me, I'd still say the G90 is one of my favorite radios. It has great many nice features. And also the FX4CR, tiny little Chinese radio that I have. I think it's absolutely a favorite of mine, but I hardly ever use it. I did bring it for this trip, but I hardly ever use it. So I think the defining feature that should define what's your favorite radio has got to be what radio do you actually use every day or as much as possible. And for me, still, this is a really, really boring answer, but for me, it's the 705. It's my favorite radio. I bring it out all the time.
And still, the topic has a parenthesis at the end. It's right now. So because favorite radios tend to change from day to day and week to week for a lot of us. It all depends on the use case.
Yeah, that's true. But that thing is it's such a versatile radio. I was on a summit a few weeks ago. Completely crap band conditions. I managed 2 contacts on 20 meters in an hour. I just slapped the 2-meter antenna directly on the BNC on the 705 and got 2 contacts from local guys. So that radio is a fantastic. You can hold the radio in one hand and the microphone in another one. You have actually a handheld with the 705. In every possible way, that's still my favorite. I'm hoping the new Yaesu, someone can probably remember the combination of letters and numbers that I put on that one, but the new Yaesu coming out.
It's about as complicated as their menu system, so I wouldn't bet on anyone actually remembering that.
It's a Jesus, it's probably an FT. I know there's an X in there, and I know there's a 1 in there. And if you just jumble that about, then that's probably the radio we're talking about. So, but it's going to look like the 705. It's going to be, I think its capabilities are going to be about the same as the 705. I'm just hoping it's going to be a little bit of a better radio. And at least it's going to be a different radio. So I'm still on the waiting list. Yay, FX4CR.
I see.
Yeah.
There are some opinions in the chat here, and let's see. Christian had a comment as well. G90, 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 G90. Smile face.
It's as I say. Go ahead.
Yeah. According to some saltwater hams, G9 is the only radio worth using. So
I wonder who that was.
Yeah, I think we're talking about Walt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've done some reflecting here, and this is kind of a good mental exercise because none of us have one radio. So if you start thinking about your favorites, you might realize that you need another. I'm not going to say get rid of radios because that's a whole different show.
That's the dumbest thing you can do as a ham radio operator. That's getting rid of a G90. Everyone knows that. Everyone that's ever had a G90 and sold it knows that that's the dumbest thing you can do. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. So don't do that. But I had when we're talking about favorites, I have another. I've been thinking also in terms of HTs. And let's face it, the 705 is quite an expensive radio for something you put in a backpack. And I have the G90 is a lot less expensive. Even the FX for CR is a lot less expensive than the 705. That doesn't stop me from throwing it in the backpack and bringing it along. And I think that's because it's so much better than the other radios in so many ways. But when it comes to HTs, I bought as soon as it got released, I got on the waiting list to get this one, the D75, THD75. It's fantastic radio in every way except for maybe power usage. It drains the battery really fast. I don't bring that thing anywhere, especially now after I got the N76, it's called, isn't it? VR N76, is that correct, Morten? Yeah.
Yep.
That radio, it's quickly becoming my absolute favorite HT. That can do so many things. And it probably doesn't do, that's the one. Only mine is red, so it's got the extra 10 dBs of gain.
Yeah. Mine's flex waterfall colored.
Yeah. But the thing is that radio, it does so many things. It does none of them particularly brilliant, but it does all of them good enough. And it's an inexpensive radio. I'm not afraid to scratch it or drop it on the ground or even forgetting it because it's such an inexpensive radio compared to the Kenwood. So I think for HTs, for that reason, that's my favorite radio.
I gotta agree with you there, Bob, because I think that's the radio that gives you the most value for money right at the moment with HTs. It's not particularly user friendly. I haven't upgraded the firmware in a couple of cycles there, so I probably need to do that. But it does things good enough. APRS is not perfect on it, but it has APRS. It has a wide open Bluetooth TNC. It has 2 meters, 70 centimeters. It has an app. It's pretty good. William asked if the N76 is a superhet radio. I actually don't know.
I would expect so. I'd be very surprised if that's an SDR.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
Jürgen, you have a lot of AI-generated radios behind you. I doubt that any of those. Favorites. But I gotta say, AI is getting better at knowing what a ham radio is. There's been quite an improvement there.
Well, I have a lot of favorite radios, or let's say radios I use very often on a regular basis. Therefore, let me switch the camera around. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Let me switch the camera to my iPhone, and then you should see it, or not.
Right now, we only see you having the phone close to something.
Nope. One more try. Nope.
And ladies and
sure?
gentlemen, that
Wait a
worked
second.
perfectly before the
Ladies
show.
and gentlemen, that was the wrong iPhone. I'm sorry. That was my.
Yeah.
And
That's
next
when
week
you
we'll be
have
back with what's your favorite iPhone?
No, that's my old iPhone 12 I hold here in my hands. Okay, about my base station. My new favorite is my FTD X10 with cut knobs for rag chewing, pota hunting, etc. When it comes to hunting the expeditions and working split, then I still like my FTDX 5000 because I have two separate receivers. For portable, the rig I use the most actually is my old ICOM IC7000. Still a great radio. So Fox, if you can get it somewhere, it's a fantastic radio.
And you can watch analog TV on it.
Yay, yeah. And you can use also one of these analog to USB converters to feed it into your live stream.
Nice.
Bob, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't think anyone broadcasts analog TV anymore, but
No, but
Yeah.
you can watch analog TV on it should you be inclined to do so.
if you found someone transmitting it.
People buy
Yeah.
microwave transceivers as well. Some of the same challenges apply there.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, and for summits on the air, I like the FX4CR because it's a tiny little box, 20-watt output, great radio. This is not the latest version of it, so still no fan in it. So I mounted this heatsink up here, but still a great radio.
And
And-
how big is that? About the size of 2 packs of cigarettes?
Yeah,
Um,
about a little bit wider than.
Let me put the iRadio next to it.
Since we all know how
Radio.
big the iRadio is.
Okay, something else. You may know how big the
Yep.
the VX.
Okay, it's
Three
pretty
is, so
pretty
that's-
tiny then.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
talking
that's the
about
exact. That's
yeah,
the same
go
model I
ahead.
have, Jürgen. It's one of the earlier one, not the latest one. Yeah, it's the same one
Yeah.
I have. I agree. Fantastically cool radio for the size, the capabilities, and the price. That's a very cool radio.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
haven't
a-
made a firmware update yet. I'm not sure if it's better with the new firmware. It works perfect like it is, so why should I update the firmware?
Yeah,
And
same here.
When talking, yeah. When talking about HTs, my tiny little Yaesu VX3. I'm not sure if you still get them new. I don't think so.
You don't.
Great radio, great receiver. Okay, only 2-watt output, but for working locally or talking on local repeaters, it's a fantastic radio. And the second radio I also use very often when I'm out there, it's my ICOM. It's the ID51, the orange edition. I guess this was the 50th anniversary they celebrated. Now they have their 60th anniversary, and I bought this in Friedrichshafen a couple of years ago. Great radio. And the everyday carry on, and it doesn't matter if it falls down, is my Quansheng. It's so cheap, and if the battery is empty, I replace it. Hi.
I have to
No,
say,
they're-
I approve of the colors there. I think orange is the only color that has more dBs than red in the radio. So very good choice of colors.
course, sure,
Yeah.
And orange is actually a really good color because you don't lose it in the grass on a POTA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and I like orange. That's my color.
Yeah,
And
me too.
Unfortunately, you don't get the FX4CR in orange.
But
Okay,
that's a great selection, Jürgen.
Let me flip the camera around. Here we go. Yep.
Tobias?
Oh, difficult question. I guess we have to split it into radios I own and radios I want to own, right? Yeah, let me think. So from the radios I own, from the HF radios, which one's my favorite? I think I must agree with Bob. It's probably the IC705 because now I can combine it with the Hard Rock 50 to get 50 watts output. And the one thing that does it for me is, I mean, obviously the built-in waterfall. That's the only radio that has a built-in waterfall. So I can just switch it on without having to start the computer and start the SDR software and then watch the waterfall there. So you can just, switch it on and have a quick spin over the bands and see what's going on. It's now also pretty flexible because I can just decide I just take the IC705 or I take it together with the Hard Rock 50, right? So I have a choice, 5, 10 watts or 50 watts. And okay, with the 50 watts, I have to take an extra battery pack and the amplifier, but it gives me flexibility, right? When I go out. So from the HF rigs, I think the IC705. I mean, of course, I have the FTDX 3000 here as a station, and if there's something on, like I don't know, if you're looking for the expedition, or if you're really sitting in front of the desk and the computer is running and the log software is running and N1MM is running, then it's all great because it's all fully integrated with the desktop. But the benefit of the 705 is you just switch it on, have a quick look, and then you switch it off again. So I can do that.
That shouldn't be underestimated. The power of just switching a radio on without more hassle than that.
Exactly. And of course, the QMX is also now in my circus, and it's getting better every day. Mine is doing about 4 watts output, and that's because I built it for 12 volt, and I'm running it with 3.7 volt LiPo cells. So when they are fully charged, it has 12 volt, but 90% of the time it probably runs around 11 volt, and then I get 4 watt output. Which, well, I did a POTA activation with it, which was a challenge, but I think it was also not the best conditions that day. But it worked. Yeah, you can do it. And of course, weight is something. I mean, you can get that thing with a wire antenna in your backpack and then just go hiking. Yeah, so there's not much weight to carry around.
Yep.
I would guess with the sort of relatively modest power draw, you could use the USB power bank and trigger cable trick as well for powering it. So you don't even have to bring a normal battery.
Yeah. You can have one of these 12 volt power delivery cables, and that might work. Yeah. So you basically have two boxes the size of a cigarette case, basically. Yeah, one for the battery and one for the QMX.
And I love how we use cigarette packs as size references. That's kind of an age marker.
Yeah. Knowing that, I'm not smoking. Yeah, it's just a known size for a lot of elder hams, right?
Yep.
Banana for reference is not so helpful in this case.
Our lifestyle is not the healthiest, so I guess a pack of cigarettes is better than a banana.
Yeah,
I don't know about
maybe in a few years we say it is power bank 5 amp hour sized. Yeah. So
yep.
Maybe that is then something. Okay, and from the handsets, I have the whole zoo on Kenwood radios, but I must say I have them all and I love them all, but I'm not using them. Yeah, it's more like showcase. I got them, I restorated them, they look nice, they're clean, they're working, but 2 meter and 70 centimeter is a bit dead here in the Munich area. So what would be the most my favorite? Well, I guess I have to say the TH79 E because I've spent so much time fiddling with it, and I'm still spending time fiddling with it.
You know, the
So-
D75 can do WinLink and APRS and packet, even though
Yeah, I
there's
did
not a
not.
voice going on.
I think yesterday or a few days ago I saw one on eBay and I was hovering, with my left hand, but common sense prevailed and I didn't buy it.
Impulse control, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
wonder what
Okay.
that's
And
like.
from the radios that I do not own, which one would I really like? Maybe not to own, but at least to try out for a month or so, and then decide the FT710. Yaeso, I think that would be something that I would love to test.
That'd be a good upgrade from your FTDX 3000, I think.
Well, it will have the waterfall, and if the noise reduction is as good as on the FTDX 3000, then it would be a nice upgrade.
Does
At
that
least,
have a...
It is.
but it
Does
only
that-
has a single output or a single antenna connection. The Yaeso has, I think, 3 different antenna connections. 1 only RX and 2 for RX and TX. So you can basically hook up 3 antennas.
Does the 710, does it have 2 receivers, separate receivers?
I don't
no,
know. It's
just one.
SDR. So
Just one. All right. Yeah.
It's-
Because as I understand it, the new portable Yaesu, the one with the X and the one on the F and the T and whatever that model's called, is supposed to have 2 receivers. So that's something I'm looking forward to testing out with that.
Yeah, but those 2 receivers is 1 receiver for 2.70 meters and 1 for HF, isn't it?
That was not my understanding. I thought that maybe just the one worked for both HF and above, but both would work for HF. But I'm not sure. We need to check this out and and rectify this miscommunication by the next stream.
I
I'll check it
am
out.
guessing that within a very short time there'll be a gazillion YouTube videos on that radio.
I'm guessing that too.
Yeah.
If they only, please just get the radio out. I want my radio. I'll make.
Yeah,
I'll even offer to make a video.
I don't think Yaesu does sponsorships and gives radios away though.
No. I don't mind paying for it. I just want it.
Yep.
Please.
but I
So-
don't think ICOM does not, or sorry, Yaesu does not prioritize reviews before shipping the radio out.
No,
They know it. They know it's going to be reviewed nonetheless.
And anyway, I'm getting mine from Mark Lynch, so I'm not getting it directly from Yaesu anyway. So, but
Yep.
yeah, if you're listening, Ham Radio CO UK, please send me my radio.
And you probably get it from his sons though, isn't it Anne's sons that has taken over the day-to-day business there?
Yeah, but that takes forever to say. Just Mike Lynch and Sons. That's a mouthful.
It's Martin Lynch, isn't it?
Is it Martin Lynch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mark. Yeah. That's another. Mike Lynch. Isn't that the guy that drowned in the Mediterranean on his sailboat? I think
I
it is.
have no idea at the
All
moment.
right. No, it's the sailboat was called the Bayesian. It actually sank in a harbor, I think, in the Mediterranean somewhere. I used to
Okay.
work for a company that he owned. That's the reason I know this.
I know
think it
David
was in
Lynch
use.
and Twin Peaks.
Yeah, that's not him.
No.
No. This is as tangents go. This is a good one.
Yeah, this is a good one. And
Yeah.
we're going to try not to be as spooky as Twin Peaks.
Yep.
Is it my turn or? do
I
you have
think
more?
so. Yeah.
I think so.
And I guess
yeah.
you will have to say the flex, right?
At some point I will, but I'm going to start with this little gem. $12. This has really impressed me. It's a 70 centimeter only radio, no display, 16 programmable channel, but I made a video on it. I'm not going to elaborate here, but this thing is actually impressive for what it is. But besides that, my favorite HT, as Bob said, the RN76. No doubt about it. I love that thing. It does everything good enough. But I was going to show, and that radio is actually out in my car, so I'm going to share a screen here because I thought about this while doing PODA today. And I guess my definite favorite radio is this. It's the 706 Mark II-G. This thing is, I mean, it's amazing for what it is. It's simple to use. It works every time. It's got 100 watts, 2 meter and 70 centimeters, although I've only used 2 meters once on it, but it has it in case I should need it. This thing is fantastic for what it is. It's just a pity that they're so hard to get by.
I also have that radio. I just tried it, and I agree with you. It's a fantastic radio. Just a small tangent. Why, oh why, are no one making 100 watts radios that's all band, all mode in that form factor anymore? Please, listen, ICOM,
Yep.
Yaesu, Kenwood, create a radio like that. We want it with new technology in it. That would be so fantastic.
Yep. The only issue I had with my 705 was that it was before the 40 meter band was expanded beyond 7.1 megahertz in Europe. So I had to Morse mod it to actually get the full 40 meter band. That involved help with a ham with a microscope and very tiny soldering tips to do that, because that diode is the smallest diode I've ever seen, and it's placed really close to a lot of other really small diodes that you don't want to remove.
Yeah. I did the wide banding of the 991A, and that was a similar story. And just to make that extremely interesting, that diode or zero ohm resistor, it's in the middle of the radio. You have to remove everything to get at it, basically.
Ooh.
So that made it fun, but it worked.
And Steve asked if we cannot use an axe to Morse mod the 706. No, you can't.
Yeah.
You need very
Just,
specialized equipment and a microscope to do it.
Just a short anecdote. I think the TH79E had a wire solder bridge to mass mod it. Yeah, so you need one snip, and it was mass modded. Yeah, so Kenwood did it right. No tiny minuscule diodes to remove on that one. Just snip a wire.
It's like
Yeah.
the Yaesu handhelds, which has a rubber flap behind the battery, and it says
Yes.
"Do not remove."
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say I have the VX2, and just behind the battery, that's the
Yep.
flap. You open that, you touch it quickly with a soldering iron, and you made the modification.
Yeah,
That's
let's see if
the
I
way
can
to do it.
Let's see if I can find a Yaesu here. I'm going to look at my VX7 here and see if that has one
Yeah,
of
it's the
those
same.
rubber
It's
flaps.
the same, yeah.
No rubber flap on this.
No.
No.
Ah,
So,
too bad.
ICOM has it too. Down
Yeah.
here.
Which
I need-
icon was that? Was that the 51?
The 51, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And actually, the FT60 does not have that flap as well. I'm not sure if we can focus right. So,
Yeah, I don't know. The last mass mod video I watched, maybe that was even Josh from Ham Radio Crash Course, and he had a really hard time. I mean, yeah, there was a circular hole at the backside, but he had real trouble getting that resistor out or something, because, yeah, I don't know, it was probably 6-layer PCB, lots of ground plane, so it's maybe, even if you have a hole for access, sometimes not so easy to do.
yep. And Bonnet says that you can Morse mod it within software with the FT65.
That's even better.
I have no need to do that, but it's good to know.
Yep.
William says that you can mod the VX7, and I'm really sure you can, but I haven't had the need for it. I don't need it expanded beyond 6, 2, and 70 centimeters. So
All my HTs are Mars modded because when I buy them in Europe, they are locked down to 2 meters, 70 centimeters only. I mean, the European version, or the European 2 meter and 70 centimeter band. So I have to unlock them because I take the radios into the States, for example.
yeah.
And you are not happy with a lockdown radio in the United States.
Absolutely. I got one radio left though before we go on to more tangents, and that's of course the radio you see behind me here. It's the Flex. As a base station at home radio, it's fantastic as long as you take the time. You do not figure out that you're going to be on the 80-meter net 2 minutes later. That you have to boot it up. You have to connect the software and connect all the software that connects to the software and everything. But once it's up and running, it's fantastic, and you can remote it easily. Even though I got an old Flex, I mean, I got the 6300 that came out in 2013, I think, but it still runs the newest software, so it's still a modern radio, and there's not a lot of radios from that period you can just software upgrade and have a modern radio.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And we don't need the newest radios all the time.
No.
As you may have seen in my comparison videos, it's not necessary. I don't hear more with my new FTDX10 than with my old ICOM.
No,
it's the same.
It is. It's pretty much it's a user interface upgrade with a lot of new radios, not necessarily an RF upgrade.
There's some new radios for those of us that do portable. Some new radios have a more sensible power consumption, especially on receive.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's a big advantage of newer radios. If you do a 15-year-old, maybe even 20-year-old radio, it's probably going to draw at least 1 amp on receive as soon as you turn it on. Like that one, yeah. I'm assuming that's
I guess
2
1.5
amps.
or 2 amps on receive.
Yeah,
the only ancient radio that I have is the TS50, and that one struggles here and there with neighbor channel suppression. So if you have a station who is, 2 kilohertz on the side, it really has problems getting rid of that. Apart from that, it's a fantastic radio.
And I got to say that about the Flex as well. It's got really good selectivity. I had it on field day and had no issues almost whatsoever on it. But it's not a field day friendly radio, so it's not coming to field day next year. There's a lot of temporary network and software setups you need to do to bring that to field day. So I'm guessing the 706 is going to be my field day radio this year.
If you want, you can borrow the 991A for a field day op staff. It might be a cool opportunity to try it out.
That might be a cool radio to try out. The 706 is more than capable enough, though, I think.
Yeah, but this one has got something resembling a waterfall, and if you
that is actually a good thing. Having that waterfall on field day was actually fantastic. But I've done field day on other radios as well. I've done it on the 7300, which also was a favorite radio for a long time, and with the G90. Doing field day on the G90 at the bottom of solar cycle, that does not help you win the contest, to put it that way.
I don't think very few people aim for winning the contest at field day, at least in my club. It's pretty much person-to-person conversations around the campfire in a much bigger degree than actually anyone bothering to be on the radio.
Oh, so, we have 24-hour operation and 1 station per band.
So you take this the field day seriously?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, all right.
With our score last year, we would have been second place in the QRO category, and we were in the 100-watt class.
Nice. Yeah.
We were still second place in the 100-watt category, though. So
I think my club normally does about maybe 100 or thereabouts QSOs during the entire field day.
Yeah, so, I think we had about 2,500 QSOs last year.
Yeah, that's quite the difference.
Then we had 5 stations running around the clock, though.
Yep.
We had enough people to do this on shifts and be able to have it running around the clock, and that was interesting, to put it mildly.
And you still found time to have beers and barbecues
beers and good food, and even got 2.5 hours of sleep in there.
Yep. Nice.
Okay, going on a complete tangent. Morten, quick question. You built a 20-meter delta loop, right?
Yep,
I think
I did.
A few weeks ago. That's how many
I built it last year, but I used it the first time a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly, because I was thinking I have to build one with the wire that Funkfieber has recommended. I think there was a nice video out
Yeah,
where he
I
said,
saw
"Hey,
that
this is
video.
the wire he uses," and I think I have to get a few meters, and I'm thinking of building a 20-meter delta loop. So that's how many meters on each side, just for
I
my
think
reference.
well, it's not on each side; it's a loop.
Yeah, but if you, what mast did you use? Did you use a 10-meter mast?
I used a 10-meter mast, and then I used one of my dipole center winders that I had for my dipole kits. You can find those on Thingiverse.
Okay, so it is probably a rectangular triangle or something like that, right? When you
It is a triangle. So I had that I had a tip on top, and then the large or the flat end is at the bottom, to put it that way.
okay, and you need 1 to 4 balloon or
yeah, 4 to
feed
1
it?
balloon to feed it.
Okay.
But that's basically it's a full length loop.
It's a
So it's
full
20 meter
length.
wires or thereabouts. Yeah.
It's a little bit more. I think it's 21 meters of wire, pretty much. Each
Yep.
side is about 7 meters.
Yeah, I think that might be a nice antenna also for Porta, right?
And you were actually
Not-
the second guy that's asked me about that. I got a comment about that as well. So I might do a blog post where I do a quick drawing on how it is.
Yeah, because I was thinking the NFET half wave is nice, but maybe the delta loop for 20 would do better.
I've only done one activation with a delta loop, but everyone else complained about the bands that day. I did not. So I guess that's at least a test. It might have been location or time or anything else, but I count that as a testament that it does work to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, because weight-wise, that the bit of extra wire, that doesn't cost you much, right? You anyway have to bring the mast, and whether you then, put the delta loop up or just the NFET half wave, I don't think it's a difference in setup time.
Takes
a big difference.
It takes a little bit longer to set up the delta loop, but not as long as I feared. I think I used about 10 minutes for it, and then it was.
But maybe if you save it on making contacts and not making contacts, then it's worth it.
And it's pretty easy. You just need something on top of the mast that is the top of the triangle.
Right. I use all my masts have a eyelet. Have a little ring on top, and I usually just use a little bit of wire or a cable tie to hook up my wire on top of the mast. So
the reason I put that dipole center is because then that is exactly in the center. Everything is set up so the corners are at the right place on my delta loop, so I don't have to measure it and fiddle about with that. Okay. And the third corner is the feed point.
The third corner.
Yeah, the first corner, the top corner.
I'm joking. It wasn't obvious to me how you number corners on a delta loop, but just trying to be funny. Sorry.
Yeah, let's call it the first corner is the dipole center that's on top, and that's also a winder, so it'll let me wind up the thing. Then I have 7 meters of wire going down to an eye connector. And then I have 7 meters going down to an end insulator, which the loop goes through. And that's the second corner where that goes. And then it just goes flat from there over to the third corner, which is the feed point.
Okay.
So 7 meters of wire on one side of the top connector and 14 meters on the other.
Sounds good.
And I think ideally it should be the other way around with the flat piece on top, but that's a whole different logistical nightmare portable.
With two masts, it shouldn't be too difficult. Actually, it could be cool to try. But
as I said, a whole different logistical nightmare portable. But yeah, it should be able to do that with two masts.
Yeah, true. But it'd be fun to compare that to just the normal 10 meter tall monopole that I use. If we're ever doing an activation at the same place, I could bring two of the Whisper transmitters, and we could do a comparison test. That would be a fun experiment, I think. Yeah.
Because you need a dedicated whisper transmitter in order to run whisper, right?
If you're going to compare two antennas, you should have two transmitters that are matched. Ideally, I think
Yep.
that's the reason I have these
I
two.
was joking,
things.
Bob.
All right. Yeah, it might be a little bit overkill, but they're called Sactech, I think. There's a Swedish guy that makes these very cool little devices. So
I've seen them, and Charlotte says that putting up antennas is her least favorite part of the hobby.
You're missing out.
She never gets the
Charlotte.
setup exactly the same, despite marking the wire. And there are so many things that interacts with an antenna, so you'll never get the exact same results twice.
Even the same antenna that is already up performs completely different on the second day. Yeah, so it's hard to know, is it your variation in mounting it, or is it just band conditions being completely different?
I think our friends on the Ham Radio Workbench, I think George has a saying that says everything affects everything when it comes to antennas. I think it's a useful way of looking at it.
And you can also bet that the day you put up a new antenna at home, the bands are going to die.
Right.
That's a given.
That's true. It's called, I think it's called Murphy's Law. We have a lot more colorful name for that law in Norwegian, but I don't think that translates very well.
What's the Norwegian meaning of Murphy's Law?
There are two phrases. It's loven om den maximale faenskapen, which translates roughly as the law of maximizing the fuck-ups, or something to that effect. And,
we are past the bots scanning our stream now, so I think we're good advice.
Let's
let
hope.
the swearing begin.
Then there's the loven om alle tings iboende faenskap, and that's the law of all things innate evil, all things innate evil, something to that effect. I think that's a pretty good Norwegian expression. So a lot better than Murphy's Law. That concludes today's Norwegian lections. Lessons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Swearing 101 in Norwegian. We should make it a segment.
But seriously though, a delta loop is an antenna that is worth trying. And it's fun to experiment with other types of antennas.
That's what I think too. I think that's one of the things I enjoy most about the hobby.
Yep.
I'm hoping Charlotte gets there as well, that it gets to be fun and seeing the differences from day to day and in the different way you set it up and the different antennas and comparing. Because when you love it like I do, that's just that's a big part of the fun. All the things you learn from building antennas and putting up antennas and testing them out. So,
exactly. And I rarely use the same antenna twice for POTA.
Yeah, I shamedly I have to admit that I do. It's really simple when you have something that you know works. It's really simple just to bring it along.
Yeah, and this is a great segue to our next week's show. Station Master here, Stuart.
Yeah.
A Lazy H is his next antenna to build. I have no idea what that Lazy H is, but I really want to build one now.
Is that something? It's Stu, isn't it, Stuart? Is that something like the HB9 CV? Maybe you can comment, because I think I saw that name researching that antenna, and. I don't think I curse that much, do I?
Do you need me to answer that, since I'm the only other Norwegian-speaking person here?
Please do. Do I?
You do have a colorful language. Let's put it that way.
All right. Yeah. I try not to, because I think if you swear too much cursing, that's. Yeah, I'll look at that after the stream. It's just a result of a lack of vocabulary, and I try to use the vocabulary I got. And if you just use curse words, then it's not intentional. I'm sorry. I'll try better.
And you're not from the north, Ravi says here. So it's kindergarten level of swearing. I got to say, my mom was up from north, and when she swore, it was a good clue to be somewhere else, because that rarely happened. And when it
vacate the
happened,
room, right?
it was a good sign of be somewhere else as fast as possible.
Yeah. That's
What is the definition of north for a Norwegian?
Midnight sun.
The legal definition is the 3 northernmost counties, barely north of Trondheim.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an Arctic Circle type thing. That's the thing for me, where that's the part of the country where you get the midnight sun and more than 24 hours straight of darkness during the winter. That's what I would call the north of northern Norway.
Yeah.
And a more colorful language.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Stuart's going to be on next week and talk about perhaps the Lazy H antenna, but most of all his logging software, Station Master. I got to say this correctly now. There's so many things in my shack that starts with Station now, so I got to keep them apart somehow. I've switched over to Station Master about a month ago. Love it. To put it mildly, it's a really good piece of logging software. So,
How is it for portable?
I wouldn't use that portable. It's a at-home logger.
Yeah,
portable, I use Polo. I've been looking at, not to take the glory away from Stuart, but I looked into World Radio League, I think it's called. I haven't tested it out, but that's supposed to work in a browser and sync up with your log at home. And has POTA templates and everything.
Yeah, but at least some of the places that I operate from, and you don't have internet connectivity.
No, you can do it. You can do it offline as well as an offline web app.
Cool.
So I might try that out at some point. And I think Stuart mentioned the last time he was on that functionality was coming to Station Master as well. So we'll hear more about that later on.
Yep.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Stuart says that it's a bit naff, but I mean he's obligated to say that. And World Radio League obviously wants a subscription, and that's the reason why I stopped using Ham Radio Deluxe in the first place. I don't know about Stuart's software though. I think software as a service is a thing that's common, and there's really no way of escaping that.
Yeah, that's a completely different tangent. I think there is a way of escaping it, but I'm not sure we should or we should want to, because there are certain things that make sense as a service, like the Dropbox. I've been using Dropbox for 10 years now, probably, and it's brilliant. I've been using fastmail.com for an email for probably close to 10 years. That makes complete sense as a service, and I really don't mind paying for it. But other things, maybe not so much. So yeah.
I mean, it depends if there's a definite connection where somebody has to pay for server storage, or if it's just to extort money month per month for something. Yeah, because for myself, I'm happy to pay for a software package and pay a bigger sum, and then I own it. And it runs as long as the operating system runs where the software is running on. But just, hey, there's a subscription, and you pay for the next 10 years without the software really changing much and without the need for it to have any network storage or cloud backend, then I say, no, sorry, thank you. So the reason why I bought the DaVinci Resolve video editing software instead of going the Adobe or the video editor.
I think there's another point, a distinction as well within larger software houses and developers like Stuart, who does everything himself. I mean, the smaller developers put a lot of resources and time into developing a software package.
Yep. So, and I think as the service that he provides, it's genuinely useful to have that as a service, delivered as a service. At least for someone like me that has multiple computers, multiple mobile devices, a solution like that just works. And I think he's working on something that's useful for parks and summits as well. And once that's all in place, then I don't mind paying for that. Not at all. The
something
one
that's-
criterion I would have is that my data is not taken prisoner, that I could extract it at any time. I can do that with the Dropbox, and I can do that with Fastmail. I can just download my data if I want to. But other than that, I wouldn't mind at all paying for a service like that. It would work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we'll hear more about software next week, I think.
This is turning into the ham radio and the European software discussion forum. So.
The European Software Show.
Worst
Look
example,
forward
I
to
recently,
that channel coming soon.
recently swapped mobile phones, and there was one app that held my data hostage, and I couldn't get it backed up or extracted or moved over. And guess what it was? It was some health app for measuring blood pressure. Yeah, so there was some Bluetooth connection, and they want a subscription service, $80 a year. And then I said, okay, goodbye. I'm not migrating that data.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's insane. Yeah, it's my health data. Why are they hogging it? Yeah, why are they sitting on it? And I mean, that it's just yeah.
Yep. And on that note, I think we're going to say 7:03. We're past the hour mark. We talked about our favorite radios. Hope you enjoyed that. And we'll be back with Stuart next week. 73 all.
Can't wait.
Bye-bye.
7-3 all.
7-3.